I have some exciting news to share with you today. My oldest son, Nick, and daughter-in-law, Amaya, who were married last November, just purchased their first home. This adorable two-story house that was built in 1920. And not only is this great news for them, but it's good news for us too, because I'll be making over every single room in this house in upcoming videos. So today I want to show you around the empty house, and then we'll get started on some furniture flips to jumpstart that first room makeover. So let's have a look around. You walk in and you see this cute little banister. I can just imagine that with a Christmas garland on it. And then you see this side of the room, and then you see this 3-window bay window. And then you see the piece de resistance, the beautiful fireplace flanked by matching bookcases with scalloped edging. And then you have a curved opening into the dining room with a door out to the backyard and the patio. And then a completely updated kitchen with lovely white cabinets and stainless steel appliances. This kitchen actually has some nice features that I wish I had in my own house. Like this cabinet, this shelf comes up and flips up here and locks into place for your KitchenAid mixer. How fabulous is that? I also really like how the microwave is built in to the lower cabinets, so you don't see it when you walk into the kitchen. We took this drawer out because we want to match that paint color, because we want to paint the soffit to match the cabinets, so it appears that the cabinets go all the way up to the ceiling. And down a couple steps, if you go through this door, here is the guest bathroom. It has nice ceramic tile on the floor, but other than that, it really has not been updated. So this will for sure be one of the first projects that I take on. It's got some tile here on the wall, and honestly, I think it's plastic tile. I don't even think that it's ceramic because it's just not very thick. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. And then I think this is sponge paint. And then up here, we have the lovely shell wallpaper border. So that will definitely have to go. And we also have the incredibly dated plastic mini blinds. So down these stairs is the unfinished 1920s basement. Here is a quick view of the front room of the basement. And then in here is the laundry room. And this is what my children used to refer to as a scary basement. Let's just say it needs a lot of love. Summer is such a hectic time. Balancing all my regular responsibilities and still trying to find time for yard work and a little travel, it can be overwhelming, and staying focused and motivated is a real challenge. So I was curious when Magic Mind reached out to sponsor my channel and asked if I wanted to try their 3 new formulas, Max, Original, and Free, to see which one worked best for me. So for the past week, I've tried out each formula for a couple days, and I'm honestly surprised by the difference. So I'm pleased to say that Magic Mind is the sponsor of today's video. For the first 2 days, I started with Free. It's totally caffeine free, and it gave me calm, steady energy for slower creative projects. Then I tried Max, and it was my favorite. It has the most caffeine, but its time release so I felt super focused for hours without any crash or jittery feeling. It was honestly a game changer for my work days. Then I continued with the original, which is that sweet spot in the middle, really balanced. But depending on your energy needs, you might prefer one of the others. That's the beauty of it. One goal, 3 paths. For instance, my teacher friends who already start the day with 2 or 3 cups of coffee, you might want to give the caffeine-free formula a try. And right now, Magic Mind is offering my viewers a 60% discount off your first subscription using the link below. That is their biggest discount ever. And it comes with a full money-back guarantee. So there's 0 risk. Honestly, I think you should give Magic Mind a try and discover which formula works best for you. All right, let's go upstairs and have a look around. So there are 3 bedrooms. This bright orange bedroom is the first bedroom. The carpet has definitely seen better days. Edgar is smelling something there. But it does have the original hardwood floor underneath, so we will be pulling that up very soon and painting these in a color that is less harmful to my eyes. And then here is the main bathroom. It still has the original 1920s blue tub, but they've done a really nice job of adding coordinating updated tile to make the blue tub feel intentional. And then it has this extra space over here with a full-size closet in it and a window. So I'm very confused about this space. I have no idea what its original purpose was, but Amaya would like to put a desk here with a chair, and this will be her little vanity area, which I think is a great idea. And this will be her extra closet because she has a lot of clothing that will not fit in just one of these small closets. Then as we go down the hall, let's go ahead and go into this room at the end of the hall. This is just another spare room, and you can see here are the original hardwood floors. And then again, just that smaller sized closet. And then this is the primary bedroom. And again, we have some, well, less than attractive green carpeting. We have closet doors that really need a paint job. But we also have a cute little window seat over here. And we have 3 good-sized windows. I think the before and after of this room are going to be truly dramatic. Notice how all the original doors have the little glass knobs with brass fittings. How cute are those? So the carpeting here on the stairs and in the upstairs hallway appears to be newer. There are no stains. There's nice padding underneath. So for now, we'll probably be leaving this carpet because we just have bigger fish to fry. Oh, I forgot to mention the piano. So when the kids put in their offer on this house, the owner accepted the offer with the contingency that he not have to move the piano out. And they don't want it, so hopefully we can find a church or charity organization that will come and haul it away for them. Although this main floor is quite beautiful and freshly painted, it is really not to Amaya's taste. The walls are a pale green, but they read more yellow, and she really doesn't like that. She wants the walls to be a creamy white, not a yellow. And she's also not fond of the teal paint around the fireplace, nor does she like all of the silver fixtures, like the knobs here on the cabinets. this very contemporary ceiling fixture, this very contemporary strip light above the peninsula, and these pendants above the sink. So we're going to try to change out some of the lighting, but also all of the cabinet handles are silver, and that's a lot. So we're going to change out the lights first, and then we will see about changing out the handles. We might hold off and do that later because they do, unfortunately, coordinate really well with the backsplash. Amaya mentioned that she would like to have an ottoman in the living room for extra seating. So when I came across this lovely pair at a thrift store for only $30, I bought them immediately. Although the gold velvet cushion was in great condition, I wanted to reupholster them to coordinate with the colors of Amaya's new living room. I removed the screws that held the cushion seat in place. Then I pulled off the piping that was stapled in place. I also pulled out the staples that held the bottom piece of fabric in place. I set that fabric aside to reuse when I'm done. To recover the cushion, I used a piece of fabric that I purchased some time ago to make pillows. When reupholstering cushions, I recommend stapling the four sides first and saving the corners for last. Cut away some of the extra fabric in the corners, then pull the fabric taut as you gather the fabric around the corner. If you take your time and use several staples, you can keep the gathering to the underside so that the fabric looks smooth and neat along the edges and top of the cushion. I wanted to add coordinating piping, so I first measured the original piping and then cut some new piping cord. To cover the cord, I know you're supposed to cut your fabric strips on the bias, but I never do. I just cut it to make the best use of my fabric. I pinned the strip of fabric around the cotton piping cord and then sewed a stitch along the outside edge of the piping. It's super easy. To attach it, I arranged the piping on the underside of the cushion with the piping cord along the outside edge, and then I stapled through the fabric edge just behind the piping cord. When you come to a corner, it's very easy to curve the piping and staple it around the corner. When you get all the way around, cut the piping cord so that the two ends butt up against each other. Then overlap the fabric pocket, folding in the edges of the top piece, and then staple it in place. To clean up the bottom of the cushion and give it a professional appearance, I stapled the bottom piece of fabric back in place. You could also use a coordinating piece of fabric on the bottom. Now you're ready to reattach the cushion to the wood base using the original wood screws that you previously removed. They usually screw right in, but if you're having trouble, use an electric screwdriver. I love these ottomans so much. I almost hope that Amaya doesn't like them so I can take them home with me. Is that terrible? Amaya created a Pinterest board for her new home, and I noticed the lamps in all the pins looked very similar. So I thrifted a simple glass lamp to upcycle. I easily took the lamp apart by loosening the nut on the bottom of the lamp and then unscrewing the socket. I pulled off the socket cover and loosened the two socket screws. Then I could disassemble the lamp and pull out the wire. You could complete this DIY without disassembling the lamp. I just find that it's easier. The gold parts were looking sad and worn, so to freshen them up, I gave them a coat of matte black spray paint. I wanted to give the glass portion of the lamp a ceramic or pottery-like appearance. So first I gave it a light coat of Zinsser primer. This will help my next coat of paint adhere better.
I mixed a scoop of salt wash with some ivory colored chalk paint to create a very thick mixture. If you don't have salt wash, baking soda or plaster of Paris works really well too. I brushed this over the entire lamp. The paint mixture was so thick that I let it dry overnight. The next day, I lightly sanded over any lumps or bumps. Then, to highlight the texture of the paint, I watered down some Waverly antiquing wax. I just wanted a very faint color, so I only added the smallest amount of wax to the water and lightly dabbed it on with a cloth. I let the lamp dry and then I sprayed it with a clear matte acrylic top coat. This will protect the lamp's paint against scratches. To reassemble the lamp, I ran the cord back through the lamp pipe. Then I slid on the glass body of the lamp, slid on the top pieces. Then I screwed on the socket base, reattached the wires to the socket, pushed on the socket cover, and then popped it into the socket base. I tried out several different shade options, but couldn't decide which one looked best. So please help me out. Which one do you think looks best? Originally, Amaya was hoping for a large buffet in the dining area, but due to the location of the door and window, there wasn't a good spot for a buffet. So instead, I found two smaller cabinets on Facebook Marketplace that should fit nicely on either side of the window. However, she was hoping for a dark wood cabinet, and these are not only light colored, but they're laminate, so we can't restain them. But I can paint them in a dark color. So first, I cleaned them with liquid sandpaper. Then I rolled on Zinsser Synthetic Shellac Primer. Shellac sticks to everything and creates the perfect foundation for all types of paint. Once the primer was dry, I rolled on 3 separate thin coats of an acrylic enamel paint that is very durable and scratch resistant. I chose not to paint the inside of the cabinet, but I think the interior still coordinates nicely with the woven panels on the doors. I think these cabinets turned out so cute. I love the green color, although it looks terrible against the blue paint. But just wait until we get the dining room painted and wallpapered. I was hoping to find an upholstered set of bar stools for the kitchen peninsula. However, I quickly grabbed this pair of bar stools when I saw them at Goodwill. They are a bit scratched up, but they're solid wood and only cost $5 a piece. And we can add a cushioned seat. First, locate and loosen the screws that are holding the wood seat in place. For the seat padding, I'm going to repurpose an old outdoor cushion that I'm no longer using. It was a great size for the stool, just a little big. So I traced out the exact size I needed and cut off the extra padding, which I had to cut off in layers. To keep the cushion from sliding out of place, I took the wood seat outside and sprayed it with Elmer's Craft Bond adhesive before situating the cushion in place. Next, I cut a piece of polyester batting. The batting smooths out the edges of the padding so there are no lines or bumps in the cushion. Since Jo-Ann Fabrics went out of business, I don't have many fabric options locally. So I decided to use an old pillow sham that I wasn't using anymore. It was large enough that I could cut it apart and have enough fabric to cover both chair cushions. I placed the fabric face down on the floor and covered it with a piece of my batting. Then I centered the cushion and the wood seat on top. I pulled up the fabric edges and stapled them to the bottom of the wood seat, basically just like I did when I recovered the ottomans earlier in the video. This fabric was somewhat stretchy, which made it easy to pull and to gather around the corners. However, the gathers weren't confined just to the bottom of the seat. You could see the gathers along the sides of the cushion. It doesn't look bad, but I won't be using this kind of fabric on any other upholstery jobs in the future. Before reattaching the seat, I went to work on cleaning the chairs and buffing out some of the scratches using superfine steel wool and furniture refinisher. The scratches are still there, they're just much less noticeable. While I could easily reach them, I went ahead and tightened up all of the bolts. Then I arranged the cushion in place and tightened all the wood screws to hold it in place. As I mentioned earlier, the screws usually go in easily. If you're having a lot of difficulty, you may not have the seat lined up properly to the pre-drilled holes. Okay, I guess you can see in the background that we've been painting, but you'll have to come back next week for the full kitchen and dining room reveal. Since there wasn't room for a buffet in the dining room, I thrifted a dark wood credenza for the living room instead, and it only cost $20 because a dog had clearly been chewing on it. To disguise the damage, I mixed 2 different shades of brown acrylic paint with some black paint and dabbed over the damaged areas. It looks much better, but I'm going to try it again with some different shades of brown paint to see if I can create a better color match. We haven't brought much decor to the house yet, but I think the credenza is a great spot for the DIY lamp. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss all the room makeovers I have planned for future videos. Thanks so much for watching today. Hope to see you next week.